Okay, so again, thank you all for coming. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Cody Sibley. I use he and they pronouns, and I am the program analyst at OHCS that administers two of our federal programs, one of them being the Emergency Solutions Grant, and the other being the Home Tenant-Based Rental Assistance Program, otherwise known as Home TBA or Home TBRA. And today we'll be discussing the Home TBRA program, specifically as it relates to Inspire. So these are just some general agreements. Just wanted to kind of start off with that. Just, stay engaged, speak your truth responsibly, experience discomfort, listen to understand, expect and accept non-closure. This is not only for y'all, but this is also for me. So that's why I put those up there. It's a reminder to myself. So these are the different topics that we're going to cover today. Um, so we will talk about the inspections procedures for Inspire, how to implement state and local property standards into Inspire. Um, I should say these first two bullet points are very specific to the Home TBA program. If you have any other programs that use Inspire, these don't apply, right? So I think with ESG, there's like a small Inspire component if you're using it for like rental assistance for people. Um, this is just for home TBA. Um, there's also a piece about implementing OHCS's 60-day invoice cadence, um, and just how we're going to do it for the home TBA program. Um, we'll also talk briefly about how to, migration away from Procorum into SharePoint, and then a proposal that I want feedback on from y'all on just like implementing some like regular check-ins with all of you, whether that would be useful or not. Um, but anyway, I will go ahead and get started. And if there are questions, if you could either raise your hand, put them in the chat. Well, I won't be able to see it in the chat actually, but if you could either raise your hand or save it till the end, um, that would be helpful. You might be able to, I think you can actually unmute yourself. If you can unmute yourself, then you can go ahead and interrupt me with questions. That's totally fine as well. Yeah. Okay, so this is a lot of jargon on this slide, and I know it's a lot of text, so I'll summarize it for you. Um, so basically, with the home TBA program, we have to establish inspection procedures that incorporate the following items. So I'm just kind of letting you know how we're going to like the procedures basically. So the description of how and by whom inspections will be carried out. It'll be carried out by certified Inspire inspectors. Um, procedures for training and certifying inspectors. So this is interesting. HUD kind of leaves it up to us on how we want to train and certify inspectors. So I'm trying to take the least burdensome approach for everyone. Um, so you're considered trained and certified if you take a training, and then you need to have record of attendance. So you can get that from the presenter. For those of you that attended the Inspire training that OHCS put on for you, I actually have certificate of completions for all of you already. So I'll send that out to y'all individually after this presentation ends. And you just need to keep this record on file. So that's basically it. We're not going to require any sort of test for like certification purposes. For the purposes of this program, we consider you trained and certified once you take a test and have record. Oh, not sorry. You are considered trained and certified once you take a course and have record of you taking that course. If you do end up taking a test, that's fine. It's just not needed. Uh, Yeah, Nancy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. I don't sorry to interrupt so early in the game, but quick question. I
Hmm.
was certified in 23 outside of this. So should I provide you or with a copy of my certification?
You don't need to provide it to me. Just make sure that your agency just keeps them in file.
Oh, it
For,
is.
yeah,
It's framed and on the wall or something. I don't know. It's
perfect. There you
fine.
go.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I don't need it. It's just, whenever monitoring comes around, yeah, whenever like program monitoring comes around, they might ask for a copy, so just keep it for then. Um, Frequency of inspecting properties annually. That's just written in statute, so we're just going to stick with that. I'm not going to make y'all, we're not going to inspect more frequently than annually. If y'all want to, go ahead, but for OHCS purposes, once a year is fine. Detailed inspections checklist. So generally, you're gonna just use the checklist that Inspire already has. I think they have one on HUD's website. So, just defer to that. There are some exceptions for the home program, and that's kind of what we're going to go over today, specifically on the next slide. Um, So the exceptions are for state and local property standards. And before I get into this, I want to emphasize that this is not an OHCS directive. This is not a Cody Sibley directive. This is a HUD directive. So this is not something that I came up with. This is just something that we have to implement. Um, so And again, this is very specific for the home TBA program. There's some legal jargon on the first bullet point. Um, basically, basically for the home program, what they're asking for is if you have any state or local, like applicable state or local code requirements, um, you need to incorporate that into your inspections. If you don't have any state or local code requirements, you can defer to Inspire. So, for example, if I don't know, the city of Bend, just picking on them for a second, if the city of Bend, for whatever reason, had um, some specific, like, I can't even think of an Inspire requirement. I gotta be honest. Let's say there was just some sort of requirement that Bend had for rental housing, and they said you have to like check this annually to make sure that it, complies with city code. You would need to incorporate that into your inspections. Um, I will say this is very rare, because of and we'll go over that in the next slide. Um, like applicable state and local code requirements and ordinances is very rare. Um, so most of you won't have to deal with this, but we still kind of have to go through the motions. So, what are applicable state and local code requirements and ordinances? So it's not so applicable state and local code requirements and ordinances, it's not simply like a building code. It's not, one-time requirements when housing is first built. Like, um, again, this is kind of a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but from what I understand, whenever buildings are first being constructed, the state has this list of like state building codes that say, your house has to, these are the different things that your house has to go through in order to be like structurally sound. We're not talking about that. The reason being is these building codes, as far as I'm aware, are not checked on a regular basis, right? They're just established when you first build the building, but it's not like a thing that you have to inspect annually. Um, so it refers to state and local requirements for regular ongoing inspections. The state of Oregon has no applicable state requirements, so defer to Inspire. Those state building codes that I was just talking about, again, those don't require regular ongoing inspections. Those are also yeah, so like we don't need to worry about that. I did a little bit of research, like very, preliminary, just quick and dirty research, and I found two local jurisdictions that might have applicable code requirements, but even then, like, I don't think they do. But I just kind of want to give you all an example. So the city of Gresham has what's called a rental housing program, and according to their website, I think the way it works for them is that the city does random inspections on rental housing units within their jurisdiction. I would still not consider though that rental housing program to be relevant for Inspire, um, because the city has its own inspectors coming and doing the inspection, right? So we're not going to have the CAAs like also check for that because that would just be duplicative. So, and it's also random. So I don't even know if it's on an annual basis or not. I don't know if it's like dependent on funding. I don't know if it's still in operation. So I would probably not consider Gresham's rental housing program to be relevant. I just wanted to give you all an example of jurisdictions that have their own inspection requirements. Um, the city of McMinnville also has a rental inspection program. I gotta be honest, McMinnville's website was pretty vague on this program. And I didn't do a deep dive yet. I do know this might impact one agency, so not to call them out by name, but you know who you are. I will, talk to you individually and we'll look at this a little bit closer to see if it even applies. So just a note here. So if a jurisdiction requires regular inspections of rental properties, but the inspections are already being conducted by like an outside party, um, we're not asking y'all to duplicate this effort. So don't replace Inspire with those requirements if that's the case. Like if it's Gresham, like for Gresham. Um, yeah. So uh, yeah, so that's kind of, I hope that helps clarify things a little bit. I know I'm really talking more about what the property standards are not and not necessarily what they are. And that is because I just am having trouble finding any jurisdiction in Oregon that has any local property standards that we would need to like replace Inspire with. However, if you do have applicable code requirements, you do need to incorporate those into your inspections checklist. So, sorry, give me 1 second. Okay. So if you do have a jurisdiction with applicable requirements, you need to incorporate those into your inspections checklist. Um, that could just be like an add-on page. If it actually supersedes, like if it's like if y'all have if there's a local jurisdiction that has some sort of building requirement that's actually stricter than an Inspire standard, then you would have to actually replace it. Um, but yeah, if this applies to you, then I would work with you individually to make sure that, we're doing this right. Um, the second bullet point, CAA must also self-certify to OHCS that they review the regulations within their jurisdiction. We're only requiring this once a biennium. Um, moving forward, it's going to be incorporated into the master grant agreement. This year, it's not. This year, we're kind of doing it as a standalone just because the implementation date isn't until October. And I'm going to show y'all what that self-certification looks like. Again, I'm trying to make it as simple and as least burdensome as possible. Um, if there's a way to do this that's even less burdensome than like what I'm asking for, I'm all ears, very welcome to feedback. You can either, I would encourage you to email it to me, to be honest, so that it's in writing. Um, and we can adjust as needed, but this is kind of what we've come up with for right now. And then if you think you might have applicable code requirements, like if you think you have a local jurisdiction that, you know, that has relevant code requirements, please reach out to me for assistance, especially this first year that we're doing this. I know it might seem like a daunting task, and I don't want you to feel like you have to do it alone. Okay. So now we'll go on to the Smartsheet self-certification demonstration. But before I do, are there any questions, comments, concerns from any of you? Okay, I'll take that silence as a no. If a question pops
Hey,
up,
Cody, can I ask you a
yes,
question? It's Claudia.
yes.
Will these slides be available to us later? Will you be emailing them out? Because I can't find them anywhere.
Yeah, I will email these slides to y'all later. We're also recording this meeting. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. So we're gonna record this meeting and it'll be available on our YouTube channel. But I'll also like email these slides out to everyone,
Thank you.
of course. Okay. So I just stopped sharing screen and I'm going to just switch over to a different screen. Here it is. Okay. So this is the, so I'm going to show y'all how we're going to self-certify. Um, so I'm just going to show you how to get there too. So we're going to start here. This is the homeless services section, like landing page. This is where you learn about all the different programs that we offer. I think it's actually a combination of homeless services programs and then housing retention programs. So you're gonna go over so you're gonna come here, go over to the left side, click on subgrantee systems, then click on homeless services section dashboard. I'm sure most of y'all are used to coming to this page, but I just wanted to just, be extra thorough and make sure y'all knew where to go. So this dashboard will take you to this smart sheet that will take its time loading.
Cody, could you possibly copy and paste it into the comments, the
Yeah,
link?
of course.
That would be easiest. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, give me 1 second. Okay. Okay. So I just sent that, I just copied it into the chat. So you're going to come to this dashboard. You should all be familiar with it, but if you're not, this is what it looks like. Um, the one that I'm concerned with is this section in the middle, ESG and home TBA program information. So then what you're going to do is click on, I think it's this one. No, it's not. Okay. Sorry about that. So you're going to click on Home TBRA Inspire Implementation Form. It's going to open up a new screen. Okay. And it's a pretty simple form, I promise. It looks like a lot, but we're going to go through it together. So there's instructions, use this portal, submit documentation demonstrating their agency is complying. Once submitted, OHCS will review it for approval, and then you can begin inspecting. Yeah. Okay. Um, you don't need prior approval to implement Inspire for the Emergency Solutions Grant. If you have already started using Inspire before filling out this form, that's okay. So Section 1, subgrantee information, just type in the name of your community action agency here, type in your name, some way for me to contact you, so a phone number, an email address, and then if there's anyone else that you want me to, like, if I have to, like, communicate back and forth with you, and there's any other emails that you want to receive notifications, just put them in this box right here. Um, just separate it by a semicolon. So you do that. It's just making sure that I'm communicating with the right people. Okay. Oh, okay. And then section 2, required certification. Um, so this is stuff we already went over. But beginning October 1st, this program requires people to implement the following procedures for training and certifying inspectors, property standards. Yeah, that's basically it. Um, we're going to comply with this in the fall. So I'm just kind of like stating how we're going to comply with it. It's not that different from the PowerPoint that I just showed you. So training and certifying qualified inspectors, you just need to maintain proof that you've attended the program. You do not need to submit proof unless requested. So you don't have to worry about uploading any of that into this. You don't have to worry about emailing it to me. Just keep it on file. Um, if I or someone from OHCS asks for proof that you've attended a training or that you're certified, that's a different story, but we're not going to ask for it right now. State property standards. The state of Oregon has no applicable property standards. Local property standards. So basically, we're asking you to self-certify that you've reviewed your local government's regulations for any ongoing property standards that require ongoing property standards that require ongoing inspections. So that's the key there. Ongoing inspections. Um, if you don't service any jurisdictions with this, then you don't upload anything. You just check a box at the end. If you do, then there's an extra form that we have you fill out, and you would upload it to here. And once again, if this applies for you, then I would encourage you to reach out to me so we can go over it together. I'm not interested in making y'all struggle. I'm interested in making this as smoothly as possible given the regulations that we have to deal with. Yeah. And then, again, we're only going to ask this once a biennium, but, let's say you think you check all of your local jurisdictions, or you check the jurisdictions that like people that are on the program mainly live in. And let's say someone comes along and they want to live in a jurisdiction that you just haven't checked yet. That's fine. Just do a quick check of that jurisdiction, and then yeah. So subgrantees should only include property standards in which the local government requires regular ongoing inspections. One-time requirements such as building codes for new construction do not apply. So then after you kind of read through all this, and again, I know it's a lot of text and I apologize. I'm just trying to make sure that we're, thorough. There's going to be two boxes that you check. This one, by checking this box, I self-certify and test that my organization has either employed or contract. So basically this one is, basically this box says, yes, I have, certified inspectors, either directly employed by us or contracted through us. So yeah, you would just check this box right here. I know a lot of you do y'all's inspections through your, I think your public housing authorities. So if your public housing authority, again, if you go through your public housing authority for inspections, that's fine. Just make sure that they're certified. Make sure that they've taken an Inspire course, and you can check that box. The next box is I'm acknowledging that I review the regulations of the local governments, and I acknowledge if there's any government within my jurisdiction that has applicable property standards, I'll upload a document right here. Yeah, along with like an updated inspections checklist. So you just check that. Again, most of y'all won't have to upload anything, so you can just check both of these boxes and call it a day. If you do end up needing to upload something, I know I'm beating a dead horse and I'm repeating myself, but please reach out to me first so that we can, work help, so that we can, be of assistance. So you check this box, you check this box, and then you just type in your name right here, and then you submit it. So that is pretty much what the requirements are. Any questions, comments, or concerns from anyone?
Are we as individual inspectors supposed to fill this out, or is this for our managers to fill out?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. No, as an individual inspector, you don't fill this out. This would be for your yeah, for your managers or from yeah, whoever each organization's a little is set up a little differently. Um, so whoever either manages this program or yeah, has authority to kind of sign off on this would be the ones doing this. But yeah, as an inspector, I don't yeah, you wouldn't need to. Okay. So that's it. If you want to send a copy for your own records, you could just check this box, type in your email address, and then you click submit. Um, and then what happens is I receive a notification as well. I go in, I approve you, and then you're good to go. So that's basically it for Inspire. So yeah, I know a lot of you are inspectors. This next part of this training, meeting, office hours, whatever you want to call it, it's not really going to be relevant for Inspire. So if you're an inspector and you want to head out, you can. Um, oh, Angela, if you're trying to speak, I think you're on mute. Oh, okay, sorry. Um, yeah. Any other questions about Inspire and the state and local property standards? Okay. So what I'll do, um, I will reach out to each of the CAAs individually, and I'll see if y'all want to work on this together. Um, if you do, great. If you don't, that's fine too. Again, whatever's going to be easiest for y'all to kind of do this requirement. This requirement that is not an OHCS or Cody Sibley directive. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and reshare the PowerPoint to go over the next portion of this presentation. And okay. And for those of you that maybe missed the first half of this presentation, again, this meeting is being recorded, so you'll be able to come in and view it later. I'm also going to share these slides with all of you. So, if you miss something, it's okay. You'll be able to catch up. So this next part of this presentation is about 60-day invoice requirements for homeless services funds. So beginning with this biennium, we have this new requirement for most of our homeless services programs that we're requiring subgrantees to invoice for each program at least every 60 days. You can invoice more frequently if you want to, but that's kind of a minimum. The reason being is again, it's not because we want to make you do more paperwork. It's really because y'all have reporting requirements to us. We have reporting requirements either to the Oregon legislature or to HUD. And we can't do our part unless we have like a more accurate record of how funds are being spent. Um, so that's why we're doing this every 60-day piece. It's just to make sure that we have a more accurate representation of what's going on. Um, for home TBA and also ESG, this requirement applies to the overall program, not each specific grant year. So as an example, let's say there's an agency with two home TBA grant years open. Um, as long as you invoice for one of those, you're meeting the 60-day requirement. I'm not going to make you invoice for each specific grant year open because that's just not practical. It doesn't make any sense, and I'm not interested in doing that. Also, if you have a region that's new to receiving the home TBA program, I know there's a couple of new regions throughout the state that are accepting these funds. Um, we're exempting you from this requirement at least through December so that you have enough time to kind of get this program up and running in your community. Um, come December, we'll get together with those agencies and we'll kind of assess where you are and see if we need to extend that further or if we can kind of start. The goal is after December, you'll be invoicing every 60 days. But I know this is kind of a harder program to implement than others. So, we'll make sure it's like on like a case by case basis. And then and then for quorum migration, I think all of you should be aware of this by now, but just in case you're not, we're moving away from Procorum and we're going to be using SharePoint moving forward for transferring sensitive documents. Most of HSS has already moved to SharePoint. With Home TBA, we're going to continue to use it to finish out the program year with a hard deadline of August 30th. So most all of you have submitted your June workbooks already, so you don't need to worry about this. But for the last few remaining agencies that still need to submit, we're going to keep using Procorum. And reminder to please turn in your final workbooks for the program year. You have until August 30th to request those funds out of Opus. And it's a deadline that I didn't set and I don't really have any control over. And as we know, the Home TBA program has some extra steps that other programs don't have. So if you haven't submitted your workbook yet, please do so as soon as possible. And this last piece, it says monthly check-ins, but it's really just a proposal for like regular check-ins. So for those of you that were here about a year and a half ago, we tried doing like regularly scheduled office hours for ESG and Home TBA, and I don't know how useful they were. These programs don't change a whole lot, so there's just not as much information to share. And then I also think that like sometimes it's just easier to talk about things that are going on in your region or in your community one-on-one rather than like blasting it out for everyone else to know. Um, and I completely respect and understand that. So basically it would be dedicated time to troubleshoot problems, provide technical assistance, answer questions, work on issues together. Um, it could also be time for you to say, hey, Cody, look, we know what we're doing. Stop bugging us, which is fine too. This can be monthly, quarterly, bi-weekly, I mean, whatever y'all need, and then we can adjust the cadence as needed. If y'all have any initial thoughts, I'm open to it. Um, I'll also I could also email y'all individually and see if this is something y'all want to get started, and then we can kind of put this on our calendars and just kind of, again, just have regular check-ins. Good time for y'all to, ask. I know sometimes there's like allowability questions, sometimes there's weird one-off questions, and we can kind of figure it out together. But yeah, if you'll have any thoughts, I'm happy to hear them. If not, you know, we can, think about it whenever I email you and ask if this is something that you want to do. Um, yeah, Autumn.
Hey, so I'm just thinking, generally speaking, we don't have like a need to have a constant check-in on, on a pretty consistent cadence, but we do have some of those bizarre or unique one-off situations. And so is there like, I don't know, a button or something like request a check-in and then giving a brief synopsis of what the check-in's about so that when we meet, we're really intentional about the time we're spending um, uh, going over the situation. Just yeah, just thinking that we might not need it. Not that we don't appreciate the check-ins by all means, but just wondering if that could be a method um, to secure some time, and then with a brief. This is what's going on and what we might need support with, and maybe we need to verbally walk through it as opposed to an email, and then we can follow up with an email, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, that's yeah. I mean, I can definitely take that into account. And do you think that would be like, because we could probably just put that like on the HSS dashboard and just replace, because I think we still have the office hours like
Yeah.
link, and we could probably just replace it. Do you think that would be easier than sending an email?
What I
Um,
like about that process or that idea, and yes, that's kind of where my mind was going. Not that everybody uses, well, I guess everybody here probably is familiar with Smartsheets, but if there's someone who is on leave, for example, who might, be the primary contact with you, it still allows people to get on and request a check-in, as opposed to that legacy knowledge, like, oh, you definitely contact Cody Sibley, and that's how you know what I mean? So it just makes it a little bit more easy for folks who might not be in constant contact with you.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if that's what people, and I'm not saying, Autumn's obviously not speaking for everyone, but
Yes, yes.
yeah, if that is something that people are also would also prefer, we could do something like that. I could send out like a just like a brief, because like it might take some time for people to, or if people really don't care one way or another, then we can move forward with either option. But yeah, I could send out like a brief little survey, like which option would you prefer?
Mhm.
And we can just kind of go with whatever the consensus is. If that's something that
Yeah,
people,
and in the chat, um, Dina made a good point. It's like a help desk request, kind of,
oh,
um, which we use for HMIS as well. So I appreciate you considering it, even if it doesn't go that way. That's okay. Just a thought.
no, I appreciate that. Okay. Like a formal request for check-ins on either side. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. No, yeah, I'll get something together. I'll see what people prefer and then just kind of go from there. Because I agree, right? Like why add unnecessary meetings on our calendars if we don't need to? Uh, not unnecessary, but you know what I mean. Like why add another? Um, cool. Well, that is kind of all that I had for y'all. I know I scheduled this meeting for like an hour and a half. I just didn't know how long it would take. Um, so if there's any other questions, thoughts, or comments, um, you can either ask me right now, or you could just email me afterward. Otherwise, I will go ahead and send this PowerPoint to y'all, along with just like a brief. And then once this meeting is put on our website, I'll also share it with you as well. Yeah, Nancy.
Yeah, hi Cody. Do you have the recording or slide deck available from the training that y'all did on Inspire? I mean, I'd appreciate having access to it if possible.
Oh, yeah, that was put on by a third party.
Oh, okay, never mind then. It's
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm sorry.
no worries. I'm good.
I
I have plenty of material from
okay.
from the trainer things.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, look, I'm not going to keep y'all here longer than we need to. So if there's nothing else, then thank you all for coming. I know this state and local piece can kind of be a regulatory headache. And it's not a fun exercise, but it is something that we just have to do for this program. So yeah, once again, if you struggle with it or if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Um, and I'll get this like help desk request situation kind of fleshed out a little bit more. Um, and yeah, yeah, have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Hey, Cody, before you totally,
Mhm.
can I ask? I just want to ask you a question. I think I already went and did that final implementation that we just talked about.
Rebecca, so this is a recorded meeting right now. Do you want me
Oh,
to if you have like a specific question about your agency,
I'll
do you
send
want
you an
me?
email.
Yeah, that's
I'll just
fine.
send
And
you
then
an
we can
email.
just hop back on Teams if you want or whatever works for you.
Yeah, I forgot we were recording.
Yeah. All right, take care.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.